Welcome to Verbal Pick Radio, where we give you a verbal image of life, and we are every day. People like to welcome you all to the show. Before we get this thing started, I just want to let you all know that I am an international member of the press. And so, during my travels abroad and in Americas, I'm noticing that wherever I go, there's this hint of racism amongst the darker people of the planet. And I wanted to investigate and find out where did it come from. But while I was doing my investigation, I learned of Jacob Blake of Kenosha, Wisconsin, who was just shot in the back several times by the police. You can see the police holding the back of his shirt while he dumps bullets right into the back of this man, while his 3 children were in the car crying, watching this, which is going to give them PTSD. It's going to scar them for life. But it's like business as usual. You'd have thought that after the incident with George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Elijah McClain recently, that there'll be some type of understanding. I don't want to say sympathy, because there'll never be sympathy towards us, but if they can conduct at least a good act of kindness towards black people in America and abroad, that would be saying something. We hear the rhetoric, we hear the tone, we hear the undertones. We understand because we wide awake and we're educated, so we understand what's going on, but we're trying different solutions to see what sticks or to see what works. You know, we tried marching, we tried singing, you know, we tried different methods to appeal to the good side of the supremacists in hopes that they curtail all the violence against black people, as if we still living in Jim Crow or we still living in slavery times. And you know, it's starting to become redundant, and people are starting to get fed up, especially the youth, right? Now, so it took me to, let's go back to India. Now, when Ghandi was when he was going through his starvation campaign and in jail, trying to free his people, the Indian people, from the clutches of the Brits, I often wonder, well, what happened to the caste system? What happened to the untouchables? How did that fight get lost in the mix, right? So I want to read something to you all, right, which helps me clarify this subject, right? Now, this is from the print, right? It said, and this is from B.R. Abdecker, right? This leader forced Mahatma Gandhi to change his views on caste. And if you ever want to look up caste, it's spelled C-A-S-T-E. And Google and research the caste system in India. But that caste system was the catalyst. It started around the world what we see taking place today in real time. This was the first. Because what happened was, when the Indo-Europeans, and I get a lot of, when the Indo-Europeans came into that region and conquered India and started mixing their bloods with the Indian women, i.e. conquered the booty, they conquered in war, they start implementing the caste system, right? Where they put the darker to the back and the lighter in the front, and that motto was used all over the globe, right? And we'll get more into that, because I have a theory, and I expressed that theory on a previous podcast on how when after Yaqub grafted his grafted devils, when Yaqub grafted those, and we gathered up all we can find with General Mukmuk and marched them across the burning sands into the hills and cave sites of Europe, Well, there was some that was left behind. And those ones that was left behind, meaning some of us hid them, took them to be wives, was mating with them, and their population was growing. And they called that, back in the time, the Persians, or Iran, which is, they also included Iran into the Indo-European nations, right? And so what happened was, some of those helped conquer the Indian people in India, along with the Nordics and the rest of the Indo-Europeans, right? But the part on the Yaqub is my theory, from what I'm gathering and researching on that history. But we do know as fact, as the Nordic, the Indo-Europeans coming into India, which, how did India become? These were the people who came from Africa, who crossed through the Indus Valley into India, right? So B.R. Ambedkar talks about Mahatma Gandhi's inconsistent stand on caste has been criticized by some leaders, right? Mahatma Gandhi's 150th birth anniversary year presents before us a legacy which has been widely respected as well as criticized by certain quarters, right? While Gandhi is held as a powerful inspiration across the globe, he has sometimes been called casteist in his own country. His contemporary B.R. Ambedkar questioned his views on the caste system and forced him to rethink. Historian Rajmohan Gandhi has called caste the most discussed Gandhi-related issue in present India, from critical to radical. Gandhi's stand on caste changed over the years. Although eradicated of untouchability was one of his passions, which was untouchables was a lower class in India, right? One of his passions. He remained an advocate of the caste system for long. For instance, in 1921, he wrote in his journal, Navad Javan, if Hindu society has been able to stand, it is because it is founded on the caste system. Now, what is founded on the caste system, right? It was founded by Indo-Europeans when they got there, just like what happened in the Americans. When they got here, they saw the natives. When they got there, they saw the native Indian people who were dark, and they implemented this caste system to keep them at the bottom, right? While being an admirer of the caste system, he believed that, and he talked about Mahatma Gandhi, while being an admirer of the caste system, he believed that there should be no hierarchy between castes and that all castes should be considered equal. See, it's the same thing in America. There's no supreme class. We all Americans, and we all should be treated equal. But that's rhetoric, because now when you get underneath that and you see the evidence and the proof, and you look at the numbers, you know, and the stats, it shows that black people would be less in population, but more likely to be harassed or attacked by police officers in their community, the same community in which they funnel their tax dollars into. But the rhetoric is, we all Americans and we all should be treated such, and that sounds good for a good sound bite. In reality, though, that's not the case, right? Okay. By 1930s, however, he had become critical of the caste system. On October 16, November 1935, he wrote in an article, the sooner public opinion abolishes the caste system, the better. The article was published with this title in capitals, Caste Has to Go. As independence neared, Gandhi became radical in his ideas. When he went to Noakhali, which is Noakhali, in eastern Bengal in January 1947, to tackle the communal violence there, he gave, as Rajmohan Gandhi calls it, a radical advice to the upper caste Hindu women. Invite a Harajan, which is Harijan, every day to dine with you, or at least ask the Harajan to touch the food or the water before you consume it. Do penance for your sins. Because he's calling it a sin the way that they was treating the original people who was there before they got there. Same thing they did in Americas, same thing they did in South Africa, same thing they did in New Zealand, same thing they did in Brazil. Right? Same system, right? In April 1947, he announced that he will give his blessings only to weddings between Dalit and non-Dalit. Ghandi was the first one to propose in June 1947 the idea of appointing a Dalit man or woman as the first president of independent India. He believed that this would be a strong symbolic move towards eradication of caste differences. Although his proposal was not accepted, Gandhi's bold new avatar tackled the notion of caste privileges and prejudice, right? Now, why am I saying all this, though? What is this about? We know that Joe Biden's vice presidential pick was Kamala Harris, right? Now, Kamala Harris' mother is from India, right? Kamala Harris can take on Gandhi's mission and eradicate the caste system in India. If she eradicates the caste system in India, that's approaching the root of racism, which will trickle down and work its way all over the globe to Americas. It started in India, and it still is rearing its ugly head in the Americas. It's just, we call it white supremacy, they call it caste system, but the tenets are the same. So if I was to vote for Kamala Harris and Joe Biden, it would be strictly on the fact that I would put forth to her in the caste system in India, because that's like unplugging it. That's like taking away the energy out of that caste system, which affect that mindset that affects all over the globe. That's the start, and she would have the power to do that. I saw early pictures of her while she was in college. She's an AKA. And also what goes with that is to show you that melanin is melanin. You seen the black Indians with the straight hair in India? Melanated, brother. Seen the blacks in New Zealand, Puerto Rico, Houston, New York, Chicago, Dominican Republic, Haiti. That's the common denominator. And we all are as one. But some trickster came and divided us and made us to believe that that person in India is not your brother. That person over there in Saudi Arabia or Mecca is not your brother, or in Africa or Sudan. And so we fight. Well, your action is not like mine, so I'm against you. Your culture is not like mine, so I'm against you. What they say, you were made in the tribe so you can know one another. We got to start knowing one another. And I believe that Kamala Harris, right, she could actually get in there and be the new Ghandi. I really truly believe that. If she gets in office. And hopefully that will be something that she would take up, knowing all the racism that's going on in today's time right now, with the killing of now this new brother, Jacob Blake, with the killing of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Elijah McClain, Philando Castile. We can just go on and on, but since we believe in root knowledge, then we tackle it at the root, and then we work our way to the Americas, because we it's like the Abraham theory, as I always state, right? Dealing with Abraham, God told him, okay, Abraham, if you can find 100, meaning you got to exhaust every means at your disposal, and to prove that you are seriously trying to make efforts to eradicate this serious situation of white supremacy in the Americas. because people are losing their lives, and it's beginning to feel like a warlike society. As when Donald Trump, the president, came out and was dealing with the coronavirus, COVID-19, and he was stating that this is war. You know what I mean? And he was creating a war-like atmosphere. It's the same thing with white supremacy, racism, Karen, and all the things that's going on that you're doing to a proud people and intelligent people and the people whose history goes back further than we can remember a white supremacist. So we need to address and tackle this issue with everything we got. With this present campaign election that's coming up, we got to put forth agendas that we'd like to see them adhere to. Not let them tell us what they're going to do for us. We tell them what we want them to do for us. Whether if it's raising the minimum wage, whether if it's putting reparations on the table, and want them to speak on how they feel about reparations, and make sure that whatever statement or answer that they give, that we hold them accountable. If they say, yes, I believe in it, okay, well, let's roll. It's not up to them. They work for us. So we give them the agenda. Look, black people on the planet, whether we call ourselves Oswads, Moors, Hebrew Israelites, RBGs, NOI, 5%ers, whatever you affiliate yourself with, right? Whether you in India, whether you in Jamaica, the Caribbeans, whether you in Africa, whether you in New Zealand, Brazil, wherever we on this globe, you can attest that in that society, the darker people in that society are being oppressed. And it started with that caste system. So before we conclude, I'm asking Kamala Harris, take on the world fight of racism globally, and you can attack it on two fronts. You can attack it in India, and you attack that in America, and everything else in between will follow. Verbal Pick Radio, we out, and I want y'all to stay tuned for atonpro.com. Make sure y'all go and sign up. Atone Productions is moving. Definitely shout out to High Frequency. What's up, Low Key? Everybody out there, that boy Cisco, EDP2 is coming at you soon. But check us out, though. Verbal Pick Radio on YouTube, Verbal Pick Radio on the Spreaker app, and we out.